Okay, as we explained, as we talked about last time, this dashboard we will be doing today is about a user a form in which a user can give inputs. The input will be, for example, selecting options. It could be a radio button, it could be a text box, it could be a drop down, it could be a checkbox altogether. Okay, so we will do it for one particular source type, and as an assignment, I will ask you to do it for the other one. So let's do it for vendor underscore sales. Okay, we are doing this, creating a dashboard which will take into account vendor underscore sales. Okay, so I want to create a dashboard for my vendor underscore sales analytics. What does that mean is vendor underscore sales is nothing but your order log, how much order was produced. Okay, so if you look at the statement, right, it is giving a timestamp, then a vendor ID code and an account ID. So you are able to see like all the vendors that your e-commerce platform is talking to. So it will give you a vendor dashboard. So the name of the dashboard that we are trying to make is vendor sales dashboard. Okay, there are multiple criteria that we can put in. So let's start with this. So first thing is you will go to dashboard. You'll open a new tab. You'll click on create new dashboard. Okay, and what is the name of the dashboard that we are going to, we'll put it as vendor sales dashboard. For now, anything that you do, keep it as private because you are an admin and an admin can view anything. Okay, so the name of the dashboard is vendor sales. Any name that you write in Splunk, any title that you give, what happens is Splunk itself needs to have an ID of its own. So Splunk converts that name into lowercase values and puts, for any white space, it puts an underscore sign. So if Splunk within its configuration, if you have to refer to this dashboard, you would refer it as vendor underscore sales, all in small. Okay, but for UI perspective, you will put it as like any way you want, but Splunk will convert it for you. But if you are putting that into any configuration, this is how you will refer it. And now you will click on create dashboard. You will click on, so there are multiple methods to create a dashboard. Okay, I'll talk about both the methods, one in which we involve XML, the other one in which we involve direct add panels or add inputs. Okay, one of these. Okay, so let's talk about it. So first thing is we'll talk about, let's create a dashboard. Now, as I told you, I want this dashboard to be taking inputs from a user. So then that this is no longer a static dashboard. This is taking inputs from a user. That means it will become a form. So I'll click on save. So now it became a form. The first thing I do is I put a time picker. So what do you mean by time picker, guys? Time picker allows you, whatever form that you're creating, we will have multiple dashboards below. It will allow you to put time into your dashboard. So now you'll be able to select time. So for example, when you're putting index equal to test source type is equal to this, you may want it to run for last 7 days. You may want it to run for a specific time period. You may want it to run for last 1 day. Okay, so accordingly you will put this is a time picker which will allow you to do that. The other thing that we want to put is, next thing, we want to put a drop down. Okay, but as of now, this drop down has no values because we have not put any query in it. So how we do that? We click on edit source. Okay, if you go inside edit source, these are all XML values. So first thing what we put is the time picker, the first input. This is the time picker. This is by default the time picker XML tags. Okay, so if you see, the default XML tag that is taken is earliest as 0 and latest as null, which means it will take all time. Now, if I want the default time, so whenever a page is that form is being loaded, I want the default time to be taken as last 30 days. So I'll put minus 30D, and for now, latest I'll put now. So by default, it will select the time period as 30 days. Now, if you click on save, you go back to the time picker, it would have selected last 30 days over here. Similarly, let's say you want this dashboard to have a default value of, let's say, 10 days. Just put 10 days over here, or 1 hour. Whatever you put will be selected over back in the UI. This is a web framework. So last 10 days. Now going back. Now I put a drop down list over here, but the drop down list has nothing as of now. Okay. Now if I want to put some values into my drop down list, how will I do that? So let me get some templates. I've already created some templates so as we save some time right now. Give me 1 minute, almost done. Okay, yeah, this one has it. So I'll create so I want to create a drop down. Okay, first thing, what is our data? We are talking about index equal to test, source type is equal to vendor underscore sales. What can we put in a drop down? Let's say we want to put all the list of codes. So item codes, we want to put all the list of codes in there in the drop down list. So how will I do that? So how would you get the list of codes that you have, unique list of codes? You remember there was a command called as dedup. So just say dedup code and pipe table code. If you say this, you will get the unique list of codes and each coming once. See this? So if I put this inside my query parameter, what will happen is this will return the result of the unique list of codes. And let's say you want to sort it as well. You want to sort it alphabetically. So it will do a sort as well. Now, what is the label that you want to give in front of the code, the drop down of code? You will say select a code. What is the prefix that you want? Code equal to. Okay, what do you mean by prefix is whatever you select from over here. Okay, and if you're using that in the, okay, this I will explain it later, but it just means that whatever you have selected, it will add that text in front of that value. By default, I am saying the default value that is to be selected is star. What do you mean by star? Star is a wildcard. Wildcard means everything. So wildcard, I will say star means all. So if I'm not selecting anything, by default, star will be selected, which actually means all. If I click on save, and okay, the other thing is field for label and field for value. You would have to give it some name. What are we trying to get? We are trying to get code. So let's give field for label and field for value as code value, which makes sense. Some kind of a variable we are passing over here. Now, if you go over here, you will get in the drop down all the list of codes that you have. Any questions so far, guys? Am I going quick or is it good? So we got a drop down now. Now let's say the other thing that I want to put is a radio button. Now in the radio button, what do you want to do? What other things do we have over here? We have a list of vendor IDs. Okay, we have some date hour, date underscore mday. Okay, what other things? What other fields we have? We have vendor IDs, a number of vendor IDs. Okay, so let's put date underscore w underscore day in the radio button over there. We want to calculate either Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever day sale is. We want to put that into a radio button. So let's do that. I'll copy a code for radio button so that it's easier for us. I'll pass you all this code. The full XML file will be sent to you today itself. I haven't used a video button. Oh, it would be here. So we are going to use a radio button. I'll copy the code from here. So what do you mean by radio buttons? Radio buttons gives you different options that you want to put over there for users to accept. So what do you want to put in the radio button? You want to put the date underscore W underscore day. That means the date. You want to put a select a day, you will say select a day. And you will put what is the prefix for the select underscore day. Prefix means the field name. What do you want to put? Date underscore W underscore day. You'll put that value over here. Okay. And by default, what do you want to be selected? Let's say by default, we want to be selected as star. Star means all, the wildcard. Generally, everybody wants to select, like mostly people want to select all of them. Now, what are the different values that you want over there? Either you can have a populating search, or you can have static values presented in a dev in whatever user input that you're trying to create. Okay, now I try to create a drop down over here. This drop down can acquire results from a search query, or you can put some static values. Okay, this one was getting its results from this search query, whereas the radio button that I'm showing you as an example, I will put that as static. Okay, how would I do that? Okay, I will say choice value. Okay, let me check. Everything is in lowercase. Yes. So choice value star means all. Monday means Monday. Tuesday means Tuesday. I know some of these things might be confusing for you. I'll go through these again. Okay, just bear with me for now. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But you need to change over here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, these are the different. So what will happen is I'm not telling it to get the list of inputs actually using a query. I could have actually put this query over here and just given it, okay, something like this. I could have done this as well. Did up I can do this as well, right? This would have given us the list of days that are there in the research result. But I just wanted to give you an example of you can put static values over there as well. Let's say you don't want Monday to be displayed in the radio button at all. So you can do that as well. So now what will happen is, whatever you select, this is the radio button that you got. Okay, by default, what was selected? All was selected by default. So we put a radio button. Now let's put other things. So we put a drop down, we put a radio button. Let's put a text. What does a text allow? Text allows a user to put anything over there. So what is a text box? Okay, in a text box, you can enter, for example, a user does not know the full vendor ID for a user. He only knows the last 4 digits. So what will you do? You can only help him for searching the total results by putting some value over there. He just knows it. Okay, he will put some, let's say 015. So that using that 015, he might get multiple vendor IDs and then he can select. He might know what it is. Or for example, for account ID, account IDs are how many digits are there? I think these are more than 20 numeric values. So what you can do is you can ask a user to put account ID over there in the text box. Because if I start putting account ID in a drop down, what will happen is account ID has more than 100 values, 100 different values, 100 plus values. can you put a drop down with 100 plus values? Is that good? Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, Jensen.
Yeah. So can you put a drop down list with 100 values?
No, that isn't a great idea.
Can you repeat that? Yeah, it's not a good idea. We can do it. That's true. But it's not a good idea, right? You don't want the user to scroll down like 100 or to 20 to find a result. Okay, you would like to put those things in a text box. Okay, why? If this says there are 100 plus values for account ID, that means in a drop down list, you will have to scroll like 100 times. That is not a good like user interface for a person. So you might want to put that into text box. Okay, so now how will I relate this particular text box with account ID? What I will do is I will go down. Okay, this is the token name for okay, one thing I forgot. I'll have to refer to a code name. I'm giving everyone a token name. Okay, I'll explain you why we are using this weekday. Let's give this account ID. Okay, whatever you select over here, you say for the text box you're giving select, and no, instead of select, what you will write, enter account ID, because this is a text box. And what is the prefix? Prefix will be what is the field name for account ID. Account ID is ACCT ID. Guys, please stop me if you're not able to understand. I'll go through this once more, okay, before closing the session. Okay, so we have account ID equal to, by default, I'm saying select all of them. Okay, save. So what happened is now we have a text box with account ID also over there. Now let's put another input over there. Let's put a checkbox. Now what is the difference between checkbox and a radio button? Anybody wants to give an answer?
Allows you to choose multiple values, and radio button you can choose only one at a time.
Perfect. So accordingly, so whatever your use case is, you can what do you call, use multiple values, either select multiple values or one value. If you want one value, you will use either a drop down or a radio button. When do you use a radio button than a drop down? Anybody wants to give a shot? When actually you want to give the list of options to user upfront. Okay, when the selection of an input has a more probability for a UI, then that's when you will use radio buttons more. Okay, it actually, so I could have put this into a drop down. It was pretty easy for me, right? But I put that into a checkbox. I want the user to do it. If I want a user to take an action on something, and I think the user will want to take that action, I'll put that up front itself. So I'll use the radio button. So there is no hard and fast rule, just how better you want the UI to be. Okay. So what was the last one we used? We used a checkbox. Okay. So now for checkbox, the same thing we will opt. Now a checkbox can have static values. A checkbox can have dynamic values. If I'm using a dynamic value, I will have to put a query. If I'm using static values, I have to give the choice values for all of them. So let's see what field we can put as a checkbox. Yeah, so somebody had a question? Does anybody have a question? I heard someone. Okay, so let's put the date underscore zone as dynamic checkbox. Okay, how would we do that? Dynamic checkbox, what is the case? We put a label. Okay, this is how we will put it. So we will say select a time zone, and by default you want the time zone to be selected as local. Okay, there are not much values in it. By default, what is the one that you want to select it? So if you give star, that means it will select all of them. And if you want to give the list of date underscore zone, you would simply do this: dedup date underscore zone pipe table date underscore zone. So it will give you the list of zones that are there. Just put this query in here. That will give the list of checkboxes that you have available. Any questions so far? Now you will give this value, whatever value is your date underscore zone, you will give it over here. That is your field name. So field for label and field for values can be same. Generally I give it the field name, and you would like to pass it a token which you can recognize, that is date zone. Let's say there's the name that we give. Save. So now if you go back, you will have a checkbox by default in which all will be selected, and you will have multiple other options. You can now select all of, or local also, or whatever time zones that you have available. So now we have a drop down list, we have a radio button, we have a text box, and we have similarly checkbox also. There are other inputs that you can use. Multi-select. Multi-select is also similar to your this thing. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, multi-select is similar to your checkboxes. You can do that as well. Now the other thing, that is linked list, time we already used. Okay, we can use a submit button. So ideally, initially what happened is, if you want users to select all of these and then click on submit and then generate your results, you can put a submit button over here. Just simply say add input submit button. If you don't want that, you can simply keep it. So it will dynamically generate according. So if I select one of them, it will automatically change the dashboards that are below. Okay, now let us put one dashboard. So how do you put the dashboard? Simply. Now what I want is, the first thing is, I want according to whatever user input has been provided over here, I want a time chart. Okay, let's say I want a time chart count of, let's say, code by host. I want to put the span as 1 hour. Okay, I'll copy this query. I'll say add panel. I'll add a panel, and that panel is my trend line. Just click over here and enter the search string. And what is that you want from over here? What is the content title? This is the trend line of your product code, and that too hourly. Product code count hourly. And then now this is pretty straightforward. What time range do you want to say? If you say explicit selection, whatever time you select over here, the query will run for that. But no, we have put a time picker over here. We want whatever has been selected from here to be passed on. So you'll click on here and say shared time picker. That is the field 1. And just click on add to dashboard. Now, so far, what has happened is, whatever has been selected last 10 days has been passed over here. Okay, you are getting the code, the count of the code values for the past 10 days. And if I do it 30 days, is it making change? It is automatically making a change. Okay, now let us do one more thing. Let us pass the tokens. What do you mean by tokens is, whatever time selection that you did, for example, in drop down. So drop down has the drop down has the list of codes. The token name that I have provided for the list of codes is code. So how do you refer to a token is, you just write dollar token name and then dollar. If you want to pass that into a search string. If you want to pass any token into a search string, you will refer that to as dollar token name dollar. Similarly, you do that for other token names as well. Now you remember, guys, we put a default value for each token name. The reason is this: if the token name has null value, this query will not give you any result. That's the reason why by default we have said, hey, I want a default value for each one of them. Specifically your text box. Okay, generally people won't write anything in the text box. So you want your query to give you some result. Okay, done. Now I click on save. So what will happen now is, I have passed all these tokens 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you may ask me, Jensen, you did not pass the token for time picker over here to this chart. I did that explicitly. Your user interface is allowing it. How I did it is, if you see, the token for time is by default field 1. Okay, and if you scroll down, your query has already got the time. So it's saying dollar field 1 dot earliest. So it is getting the earliest time from here, and dollar field 1 dot latest. So I already told you the dollar represents a token. So if you want to pass a token, that's how we pass. So explicitly it passed that token. Now this is a user defined input, like a form. Now if, for example, now if I select only code A, I want the count only for code A, I can get that. Let's say I want the count only for code A, but for Thursday only. So I'll get that. So let's say I want the for a particular account ID, and I know the account ID has something 1567 over there. Okay, the reason I'm putting a star still over there is because I don't know the full account ID. It can start with 1567 or it cannot. So there is no account ID which starts with 1567. So let's see an account ID, get it from here. Let's say you get one account ID full. Let's do it and then put it over here. Okay, I get the reason why it is not passing it. Because the account ID has not been given. It has been account ID equal to, this is the text box.
I think the day, the details.
Oh, that particular day.
There is no transactions.
Perfect. Yep, correct. You're right about it. On that particular day, there has been no transactions. Correct. So let us put that for all day, all codes. It may be possible, right, for that code. Yeah, see, now we got it. You're right. So what we developed right now is a dashboard which is taking user inputs, okay, which is making now that the dashboard interactive. So the user can select multiple codes, user can select multiple days, he can put an account ID, he can select the time that is being calculated for the dashboard. So this is how it is doing it.
Hey Jensen, can you show me how to add a panel once more?
Sure. So let me add one more panel, okay? So let us do one more panel. So we'll click on, so now let's say I want, okay, I want a graph, I want stats count by code. Okay, let's say this is what I want. Okay, so I'll copy this search string. I'll say add panel, new. This will be a column chart, right? We want. So you'll say, put the search string over here. You will say, what was that for code? Code table, code count table. Okay. And as I told you, you want to specify what time range scope that you're talking about. Select it. The one is share time picker. This is the field 1. Okay. and now click on add to dashboard, but yet we have not passed the other tokens. So as of now, in this particular panel, I have just passed the token which is field 1 from here. But what if I want to pass all of the other field names? I can do that using a pretty easy trick, is copy it from the other search string. These are the other token names. Copy it from here and then paste it here. Save. So now whatever token you selected from the top will be computed. What is happening right now? It is only showing one code. I haven't selected any stats count by code. Save. Think it has selected. Okay, it is why the reason is because I have selected an account ID over here. If I remove this account ID, I'll get all of them, because that account ID had only one code associated with it. So let's say I want to select only Monday, it will give me the results for only Monday. If I want to select only Wednesday, it will give me the result of only Wednesday. So this is how you can prepare a user-defined. Yeah, somebody here a question?
So we have to just associate the tokens, right, with the code?
Exactly. So exactly, all these panels, all these fields that we have put right over here have to be associated with the token, and that token has to be passed to the chart that you're using, trend line that you're using, pie chart that you're using. So you can do that.
Okay. So tokens act as a variable. You just will take the value
exactly
from the above and
True. The token acts as a variable for you. So this is how you create a dashboard. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now what we did today is we created a dashboard. Okay, we put all the user-defined inputs. Okay, now what we created a drop-down list. We created checkbox. We put a time picker, a text box as well. We created some check boxes and radio button, and and we created some dashboard which will change according to what the user is selecting. Okay, and if you want to see a real time, so simply see this dashboard. Let's say, okay. Okay, this is some dashboard that I built, and now it is taking some user inputs. It is taking only 2 user inputs, that is a time picker, and accordingly it will change the things. So you can click it, and then accordingly it will change it. So for that logger, there is no value. So this is used extensively. So anywhere you go, you will have to use these panels. Okay, and these panels will be used to create your user-defined dashboards. As of now, guys, think of one thing. We are using sample data, which has not much data in it. We are only using one index. Gradually, we want to use multiple indexes. Okay, in the later on example, in later on classes, we will be using multiple indexes. Now, how to join data from multiple indexes? We will be talking about that as well. Now, as part of your assignment, what is your assignment for today is that we will talk about tomorrow. I want you, so we did it for source type is equal to vendor underscore sales. I want you to create a similar dashboard with similar type of entries for source type is equal to access underscore combined underscore W cookie. For this one, I want you to create, so you have, so okay, what you can do is you can put a drop down list for the action. You can put what you call a checkbox for the category ID. You can put a text box for client IP. Okay, you may put what you call another checkbox, or maybe a drop down list for file. You may want to put a text box for JSession ID. There are product IDs, so you can put multiple things. And I want you to create multiple such panels below. Is that possible? Does anybody have any doubt? If you guys have any doubt, please stop me and then we can talk about it.
Hey Jensen, in XML, the attributes and the tags which you use, we have to use the same tags. Like I mean, we can define the whatever we want.
Can you repeat? So the tags that we use inside the XML file?
Yeah, the like I mean, index, label, input, all the things. We have to use the same exactly, or we can define.
So there is a format
one, right?
These are predefined, correct? So these are predefined tags that Splunk understands. So each of these tags, right, when you write them, they have a corresponding Python script that runs behind.
Okay.
Okay, and sometime you may want to have some weird scenario. Okay, so what will you do is you will go to Splunk. Let's say now I want to find out what are the other options that are available for my input type radio in Splunk. So what I will do is I'll simply go to radio. I'll just type in Google radio input type. You could have some weird scenario, right, where someone asks you some weird thing. Okay, and then you would not have covered that. So you will go to Splunk knowledge base. You will find out, okay, input type radio. What are the other options for radio? You'll find it over here. So what are the static, dynamic? You'll find out, okay. Now these are all the tags that are available for a radio button. This is for a radio button which has static inputs. This is for a radio button which has dynamic inputs. Okay, so all the tags that are available for a radio button, you can find that over here. So if someone asks something beyond that, you can simply say it is not available in the simple web framework of Splunk. I have seen a lot of people coming back to me in support. They get some requirement from a user, and that is not possible in the web framework of Splunk. So what you always do is you go back to Splunk documentation, you refer there, okay, is there any tag that is available to complete my objective? Okay, guys? So does that answer your question?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? So you will create multiple user inputs, the fields. You'll create multiple panels below. That's your assignment. So next class is completely about me checking your dashboards. For each one of you, I'll have you share your screen, show me your dashboard. Make sure that all your dashboards are different because everybody has different ideas of how to display the current data. Okay, that is there. The other thing I want to talk about is, as we talked, right, we have selected a what do you call an input over here Wednesday. Okay, let's say we also select a code over here, let's say D. Okay, so whatever we select over here, automatically if you go on the top right URL, these are what? These are tokens. Time is also a token. If you see now earliest, so anytime any token that is represented in a URL will be represented with the ampersand sign. So if you see form.field1.earliest is equal to -10D. That is the first thing. Now what is the latest? Form1.field1.latest equal to now. And what is the code that you have selected? Form.code equal to D. And you go further, form.wday is equal to Wednesday. Form.account ID is equal to star. That is what you have selected over here. Form.datezone is star. All means star. Right. So these are the things that is automatically you will get it over here. Okay. So when it is a form, you will get all the parameters or all the tokens on your URL itself. If you want to troubleshoot something, so for example, I want to troubleshoot why my panel is not displaying some result. So you can always refer to the URL and find out, are you passing the right set of tokens or not? It could be possible the field name that you're passing to your token may not match with the field name in the query. For example, I refer to, in my token, I refer to action as A capital, okay, and my field name is small a. So if I go over here, for example, let's say simply code is C capital. And if I refer anywhere over here, the field name as C small, I'll get an error. I won't get a drop down at all. So for example, if I refer the prefix here as C small, what will happen is I'll not get the desired set of results. So make sure you're not having any typos. It is all the case is satisfied. Splunk is case sensitive. Your field names are case sensitive. Okay, guys. So this is what you will be preparing. I'll quickly copy the XML file. So how you can, what you guys want, if you want to create a similar dashboard, okay, if you want to test this same dashboard that we created right now, what you can do is I'll just give you the XML file. Okay, you want to copy the XML file. You want to create okay, go to Splunk dashboards, click on new dashboard, give it some name, and then copy this XML file that I'm giving you inside that text. That is how you'll be able to create a dashboard. Now let me create that for you guys. Any questions meanwhile while I'm doing it? No questions? These are the basics of Splunk dashboard. If you learn this, you will be able to complete most of the work that is given to you as a Splunk dashboard. Simple dashboards. Okay, but we want to get into complex queries. We will be talking about joins. So once you complete the first assignment, we will be talking about those, how to make it more complex. So I'll create it over here. New Google Docs. You guys are able to see the documents that I've shared as well, right? Can I get a confirmation?
Yes, Jensen.
Okay. Okay, the name of the document is form XML sample. Can one of you just quickly check if you're able to access it? If we have no questions for today, we will complete the session right now. And tomorrow's session will start at the, can we guys start at 4:30 p.m. CST tomorrow? If you guys have no other plans. Because I want to give more time for you guys to ask questions, because I will be having each one of you guys sharing their screen and looking at your issues.
Yeah, 4:30 is fine for me.
Okay, is everybody fine, or does anybody have any issues? 4:30?
No.
Okay, sounds fine. So let's start at 4:30 p.m. CST tomorrow. And okay, I'll upload the recording for today. And yeah, complete your assignment. Okay. Thank you guys. That'll be all for today.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.